Hey, what's up guys? So for this video, I'm going to be reacting to a video from The Act Man, and it's called The War Against Video Game Ownership, featuring PlayStation and Sony. In case if you don't know, but I'm sure most of you that have seen this already know, but PlayStation are going full digital only, meaning if you plan to continue purchasing physical discs for PlayStation 6 and beyond, starting in 2028, that will no longer be possible because PlayStation just wants to make sure that you have no ownership. You will own nothing and be happy. That's basically why they're going to a digital-only space starting in 2028. This is really bad because Sony can just revoke whatever game you have at any point in time whenever they feel like it, which is just terrible. They can revoke it very quickly if you are mean in game chat in whatever game you are playing. So yeah, this is really bad. Like, video game ownership should still be around. Sony should not be able to force consumers to go digital only even if they don't like it.
When a gamer buys a PS4 disc, they have the rights to use that copy of the game. They can trade in the game at retail, sell it to another person, lend it to a friend, or keep it forever.
Yeah, well, not anymore, you're not.
It's clear this generation will not be defined by the incredible games that released during the PS5 and Series X's life cycle. Instead, the 9th console generation will be defined by corporate greed, mismanagement, and anti-consumer practices that could very well alter the course of the games industry itself. I can't think of a more accurate summary, or an article that better encapsulates the state of AAA gaming. Give a round of applause for Brian Shea of Game Informer, who wrote this just 2 days after PlayStation's most recent announcement that they were going to end physical video game production. What's up, everybody? This is the Digital Man here, and today, do you like owning things?
You think you do, but you don't.
This console generation has genuinely felt like both Xbox and Sony have been racing to rock bottom. But who knew rock bottom had multiple basements? It's like finding out there's a color darker than pitch black. Like, your mind can't really comprehend that. Neither can I comprehend how awful things have gotten with Xbox and PlayStation over just the last 6 years. Right when you think Xbox can't be outshitified, like, oh, okay, they raised the price of absolutely everything, there's no way. And then boom, PlayStation comes along and says, okay, hold my diarrhea.
Yeah, both of those companies are competing to see who can be the most hateable company ever, and I'd say they're both still competing to see who can be the most disliked company ever between Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. But it's hard to say who is winning the most hateable brand ever, because all three of these companies just raise the price on everything. Consoles, video game prices, not just that, but they also raise the price of video game online subscriptions as well. So all of these companies just want more money despite being worth a lot of money. Despite this, these suckers still feel like they need more money for some reason other than pure greed.
Yeah, folks, it turns out there's more than one diarrhea outbreak right now. Until Asha Sharma came around, all Xbox had done in the past 3 years was shut down multiple studios, lay off tens of thousands of employees. They canceled a bunch of games and raised the price of every single product and service that they offer. And yet somehow, what PlayStation has done just recently has made them public enemy number one. The best way to describe the 9th generation of consoles is to say it has become a clown show. A never-ending stream of chaotic, disorganized management blunders resulting in entirely negative consequences for gamers, consumers, and all the folks who make video games. You know, back when loot boxes were super popular and that felt like the worst thing ever, it felt like we were fighting against just one shitty business practice. But here, in the year 2026, this isn't just a battle that we can win with our wallets anymore. This is a war against the idea of ownership.
Which is why the initiative Stop Killing Games exists, is so publishers are forced to allow consumers who bought their product years ago can keep their products for years to come instead of just revoking it from them whenever they feel like it. Because it's not fair for people who purchased whatever video games they bought at release at full price only for the publishers and developers of whatever video games consumers purchased years ago to just, yank it from the game library. It's just not fair.
If they want war, we'll give them war.
Who knows, if we're lucky, maybe we'll have the luxury of being able to pay for the air that we breathe too.
And now for something completely different.
After investing heavily in massive flops like Concord, PlayStation's attempts to restrict access to Helldivers 2 to only those who were able to link their PSN account, the way they shut down Bluepoint Games, who had only released bangers as far as I'm concerned, off the heels of the Stop Killing Games initiative, which got over 1.3 million signatures. Not to mention the surging costs of essential components like RAM, CPUs, and storage, which have driven up the prices of every single console and every single computer over the last 2 years. I shit you not, the 128 gigabytes of RAM I purchased just 2 years ago has quadrupled in price.
Everything these days is just getting expensive, and it's harder for this generation to survive because everything is just so fucking expensive, plus existing products always go up in price. It's just annoying to keep up with. You also have to realize that companies like Microsoft, Sony, not just them two, but also other computer companies have invested billions of dollars into AI, and that's why you see shortages of computer components. That's why RAM sticks are super fucking expensive, as well as building a PC is almost impossible because of how expensive computer components have gotten.
Unfortunately, console storage and memory prices have increased by more than 2.5 times, and we expect another doubling by the end of fall of 2027. Everything is getting more expensive, and by making digital content the only viable means of consumption, these companies seek to exert control over what you are allowed to consume and how, as opposed to simply offering you the freedom to purchase the thing you want in the way you want. And I hate to say it, folks. Well, I don't, but Metal Gear Solid 2 predicted all of this. And Hideo Kojima, quote, is really sad about PlayStation ending disc production in 2028. He's actively buying up physical media and is frightened about the future of ownership as streaming becomes more dominant. And you know, speaking of physical games, just look at that. Just for a second. There are 52 pages in the manual for Metal Gear Solid 1 on PlayStation. All this stuff has been cut long ago. I shouldn't have to go over the reasons why physical media is important or why it was so much better back then. All I really want to highlight is what has been lost and how we're not even allowed the physical representation of the games that we own. What people are mad at is this tweet. And with 180 million views, the last tweet I remember seeing getting over 100,000 replies was the death of Chadwick Boseman. So this is exactly the response that needs to be given. Thank you all for pushing back against this. Everyone who replied, who liked the meme. I mean, I posted this anything else garbage can. Yeah, just anybody who interacts with this stuff and pushes back against it, keep it up.
Hell yeah, you'd love to see people absolutely scorching PlayStation and Sony for their dumb decision of ending physical disc production starting in 2028. People should definitely keep pushing back on PlayStation's decision of ending disc production in 2028. The more you keep bullying Sony and PlayStation, and the more you don't support them, or, no longer want to support them, the more they lose their fan base, the better. That will mean Sony will be like, oh dear, we lost a lot of support because we decided to end physical disc production, and we've lost a lot of support, trust, and loyalty from our fan base. So yeah, keep it up. Just keep letting Sony know you're not okay with them ending physical disc production and going digital only in 2028. Just keep ratioing them on Twitter, keep bullying them. Just do whatever you can that hurts their feelings and bottom line and makes them regret this decision.
Let's just take a second to look at the PlayStation feed. So many of their posts are being hit with community notes. Yeah, Sony is pushing an old digital future without being upfront about its limits. PS5 downloads can't be played from USB. The expanding storage requires an expensive SSD. Digital games are licenses, not true ownership. Physical discs preserve choice, competition, and ownership. You can see basically every post they have made is being ratioed by the replies, and you just love to see it. Without third-party stores, we lose all pricing options and ownership. Sony already proved this by deleting purchased movies when licenses expired. I almost forgot about that. Sony erases digital content from libraries, like immediately before announcing this decision.
Nah, Sony is shady as fuck for that. They are so scummy for thinking it's appropriate to just yank the access from fans who purchased a bunch of films were on the PlayStation Store. It's just all taken from you, and you just have no refunds whatsoever. Like, I would be furious if that happened to me, and I would definitely want to sue Sony for a lot of money because they took away all of the films I purchased years ago, and it's just gone within a snap of a finger. Now they're trying to do this to video games that you have purchased years ago, just yanked from your library at any given time, with no refunds whatsoever, and you can't let that happen. Because if people just allow it to happen, then what's the point of purchasing a video game at full price at release then? It's just going to be taken away from you at any given time from Sony.
You know, there's two puzzle pieces. There's two puzzle pieces here, and I'm struggling to put them together. Sony is currently attempting to establish a digital monopoly by eliminating physical media. Sony's sudden pivot to digital without informing partners its poor digital ecosystem in pivotal markets, desperation to erase retail and resell, and executives selling off stock suggest massive corporate instability. This content may not last long. Purchase warning. Yeah, there you go. Then stop selling digital games for the same price as physical ones too. No. They need money. They need it. You are killing ownership. You are killing legal preservation. You are killing discoverability. You are killing publishers. You are killing developers. This is a move that might slightly improve bottom lines, but tear down every other aspect of the medium. Well done. You fucked it up.
You done fucked it up! You done fucked it up, Sony!
PlayStation nostalgia account. I have no words. Final nail in the coffin of the company I once loved. It's just PlayStation nostalgia. Yeah, I'll follow back. Respawn products will gradually cease production of physical chairs and shift to production of digital chairs only. And Burger King is clouding. You're getting clouded on by fucking Spanish Burger King. Sorry, Brazilian Burger King. With all due respect, go fuck yourself. Yeah, look at this guy. Look at this guy. He doesn't play Tiger Chainsaw. You're not a real PlayStation fan. It only looks like you've collected every single physical game that PlayStation as a brand has ever released. Only. Physical disc production ending in January 2028 for new games releasing on PlayStation consoles. And now at first I thought this was like shameless nostalgia bait, saying like, oh, wait, you don't hate us? You don't hate us? Look, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Remember Black Flag? Edward Kenway, Pirates? I thought this was like some shameless nostalgia bait until I started to read between the lines and realized that this was actually Sony and PlayStation's endorsement of piracy. So,
do what you want because a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
Remember, if buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't stealing whatsoever, because if Sony is going to resort to, you don't own your game's memo, then you might as well just pirate the video games, or just, send a message. Just don't buy any of their products that they release. just to make sure they realize what they have done is wrong. I like physical copies of whatever video games I like to play and want to keep playing in the future, so to see Sony start off this chain reaction of you don't own the video games you buy, then it's going to set off a chain reaction to all video game companies. You know, Microsoft with Xbox, they're definitely going to follow suit. Same with Nintendo. Plus, Rockstar is doing it for GTA 6, like it's digital only for release. Plus, if you buy the cover art for GTA 6 Ultimate Edition or Standard Edition, it doesn't matter. You don't get the disc inside, so it's just basically you're paying the same amount of money that you would pay for the digital version, so what's the point of purchasing a physical copy of GTA 6 when you just have a digital code inside of it? So basically, Rockstar is also joining in on the territory of digital only is the future when it shouldn't be the case.
In response to shifting trends in consumer preference, new games will be released on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. Format this! Sony intends to pull the plug on all physical copies of video games that they release. As if removing the manual and all this stuff wasn't bad enough. Now they don't even want you to have a case, a physical representation of your games in your library and the memories that are associated with that. If I go back and just look at my library of games on this shelf, it's not the same as looking at my Steam library. You know, if I have somebody over, they can point to a game and be like, oh dude, you got this? Oh yeah, let's have a conversation about this game. Or, oh dude, you want to replay Gauntlet Dark Legacy? Fuck yeah, let's do it. No, there's none of that with all digital. But like, and that's not a knock against Steam, because that's, with Steam, you get all the sales and the discounts and the good deals. All of the PlayStation fans watching this, first off, I'm sorry that you are being punished for your support. And just in case you thought they couldn't give less of a shit about you, apparently Sony thinks it's not necessary to maintain contact with fans. They think you are cattle.
I don't know if the Act Man knows this or doesn't know this. Maybe he forgot about this, but Sony are not the good guys because they literally forced their player base who bought the PS5 at any time, it doesn't have to be on the day the PS5 released, to pay an additional fee if they want the disc drive for the PS5, because the PS5 doesn't come with a disc drive. It's just, you know, you can put the disc inside of the console and it will start up whatever game disc you have inserted inside of the console. But yeah, Sony is basically forcing people to go digital only, with that decision of forcing people to purchase a disc drive separately from the console of the PS5 that they bought whenever they bought the console. So yeah, they're not the good guys whatsoever. Sony isn't like, oh, you know, we have to comply with this digital only policy, like, we're so sorry. No, they are actually the ones that wanted this to happen in the first place. Sony going digital only in 2028 and ending disc production definitely confirmed my suspicion of Sony is definitely going to turn PlayStation into a digital only ecosystem where you're forced to purchase video games by the PlayStation Store at full price, no discounts, nothing, and when Sony decides to yank whatever video games you have purchased from your library, you don't get any refunds, that's it. You're screwed, and there's no other way to put it. And if you are okay with this, then you are basically just allowing Sony to take control of what you purchase and how long you have whatever games you have purchased for.
You know, I really shouldn't have to explain why owning physical media and having that option is essential. Well, why don't I let Sony tell you why it's so important?
When a gamer buys a PS4 disc, they have the rights to use that copy of the game. They can trade in the game at retail, sell it to another person, lend it to a friend, or keep it forever.
The PS4 won the 8th gen console wars almost entirely because Xbox shot itself in the face and Sony said, we're not doing any of that. Just listen to the crowd cheering at the simple idea that they will own the games and the consoles they purchase with no caveats.
Well, Sony changed their mind because they want more money because they're that greedy.
The goal of all this is really quite straightforward and simple.
We still need money.
They want to retain ultimate control of your entire library of games with the ability to shut it off and rob you at any moment, giving you no recourse and no alternative to purchase these games.
Also, if you say something mean in game chat and Sony finds out about it, then you will have your video game revoked because you were mean in game chat, which is just really silly. Sadly, that will be the future we live in if we don't put a stop to this madness.
It's monopoly, and they want to force you to purchase their games through a single storefront on which they can charge full retail price and never have to offer any sales or discounts. At Walmart, God of War Ragnarok costs $28. On Sony's store, it costs $70. Because on Amazon, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater costs $26. But if you buy it from PlayStation directly, it's only $70. This is the future they want. Full prices, no discounts, no refunds, complete control, no resells, no sharing, no transferring, nothing. Okay, so what's the argument in favor of shutting down production of physical copies? The argument is that it'll save them more money. It costs about $2 to $5 to print and ship a physical game case with a disc. Oh, so that's why they're going digital. They want to pass this savings off to the customer, effectively making games cheaper, right?
You stupid.
The point is, if there was something positive about this change, Sony would have mentioned it, but there isn't, so they didn't. This is objectively bad for the entire industry, and there is no argument because Sony didn't present one. It's not just bad for every owner of a PlayStation, but all these horrific practices could easily spread like a plague to Xbox and, God forbid, even Nintendo. When Sony says, "This transition will enable us to align more closely with how most of our community prefers to access and play games today," most of the gamers buy digital. Sure, okay, I'll give you that, but not all. There obviously exists an audience for collectors and folk who want the most value and freedom with the games they purchase, the freedom to share the game. As consumer preferences and the broader entertainment industry continue to shift away from physical discs to digital, look at the finger pointing here. Sony is they're just reacting to consumer preferences. It's actually your fault. It's your fault they're doing this. You can't blame them. Blame the broader entertainment industry.
Now, I should mention that because Sony is going a digital-only route, it's important to mention that their servers need to be maintained because Sony has way too much server outages on PlayStation 5. It's happened to PlayStation 3, I believe, but it's happened more than once on PlayStation 5, and Sony is known for having PlayStation server outages as well as cyber attacks and hackers. So yeah, if Sony is going a digital only route, that is really, really bad because, you're going to get hacked, and because Sony is trying to go this digital only route of forcing people to purchase video games on their storefront, that is really bad.
Motherfucker, you are the broader entertainment industry. What are you talking about? This is a natural direction for Sony Interactive Entertainment to adapt to consumer trends as the general preference for digital media significantly outpaces physical discs. This transition will enable us to align more closely with how most of our community prefers to access and play games today. Again, keyword most. Most is not all. all includes digital and physical. You can't even spin this in a positive way because all you're really trying to do at the end of the day is save $2 to $5 on manufacturing costs for producing and printing physical copies. We'll continue to prioritize our resources to drive innovation in how players can access games and provide choices as to where players prefer to purchase new games. But you're not doing that, though. We're removing the option to purchase physical discs in order to provide players more options. Quite the sales pitch. The removal of physical video game copies is a wholly indefensible position to take, much like it was for the opposition to stop killing games. You are opposing the idea of people owning what they purchase. Somehow, Xbox has a golden opportunity to reverse the script and capitalize on this monumental blunder the same way PlayStation did with the Xbox One fiasco. I don't have high hopes that they will. Asha Sharma, you have been given the alley-oop. You are in mid-air. There's no defenders within a 10-mile radius. All you have to do is just lay it up. Just dunk it.
Let's see if Xbox actually announces they will keep disc production in 2028. I don't have high hopes they will, but let's hope so.
This news of no more physical game discs also comes along the shutting down of the PS3 store and PlayStation Vita store again. But in other good news, only 62% of the Earth's countries won't have access to the PlayStation store, so they will not be able to purchase digital exclusive games on PlayStation 6. Just 62% of the world. That's fine. It's the same thing they tried to pull with Helldivers 2, and we should have known they'd try to pull this bullshit again. Luckily, legal and player responses have been quite swift. A Discord user managed to boot Astrobot on PC. Brazil has proposed a new bill for protections for gamers. The Dutch have already filed a $457 million lawsuit against Sony. Ignoring the price increases of every single video game, every single console, every single stick of RAM, every computer component, and ignoring the across the board price increases for everything tech related, they are still waging war against our ability to just own what we purchase. Yeah, that is the war against video game ownership. What do you think? Are you gonna get rid of all your physical copies? I sure hope you do. I sure hope you get rid of your physical house or apartment or dorm or wherever you live and choose to live in the digital space. The metaverse, I've heard, is pretty good. But let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to The Act Man for more awesome content. Alright everyone, that's all I got for today. This is The Act Man, signing out. Peace!
Great video from The Act Man, definitely enjoyed it, and I definitely do think that people should be allowed to own the games that they buy, even years after release, especially when they purchase whatever video games they bought at full price. And luckily, Stop Killing Games exists to make sure people who purchase video games buy physical copies own the games that they purchase forever. Anyway, take care, everyone.